This article in the New York Times is so incredibly sad, but I think it's worth the discussion. In this article, they discuss the unfortunate case of the passing of Joe Riley. This is Ben Riley, his son, right here. Joe Riley was diagnosed with a type of leukemia, and he was not moving forward with treatment recommended by his oncologist because of information he received from AI. Now, Perplexity generated a report for Ben's dad, Joe, and gave him all kinds of information about his type of leukemia and even led him to believe he had a certain variation of his leukemia. And Ben found out about this and was very frustrated with his dad. And they go through the whole story in the article. It's definitely worth a read. But ultimately, in the end, Ben became very frustrated. He actually contacted two of the authors of the papers that this Perplexity report was quoting and said, here's the report this AI software made for my dad. He has leukemia. And based off of your research, it is recommending that he not go forward with what his oncologist recommends. So these two physicians that were on papers were like, oh my God, that is absolutely not what my research should lead you to do. Please, your dad should listen to his oncologist. Sadly, even the authors of the actual papers that this Perplexity report had cited could not convince his dad to do treatment, and his dad unfortunately passed. And this is obviously a very sad tale. There's a quote in there where Ben at the end is very frustrated, rightfully so, with his dad, and he's like, your oncologist, the two oncologists cited in this report are disagreeing with the report. Do you really think you know more than these experts because of this Perplexity report? And he said yes. Now, AI is a wonderful tool, and it's allowed access to information in a way that we have never had before. But I want to give people pause when using it to diagnose and treat yourself. And I completely understand the issues surrounding the medical system in the United States and why patients do this, because it's expensive, access to doctors is difficult. I know why you do it, but it can be dangerous. AI is often wrong. It was very wrong in this situation, and I see it all the time in my patients. AI wants to please, so to speak, and how you ask questions and the train of questions often lead it to certain conclusions, and those conclusions can be wrong, and you can pay with it with your life. The patient in this article was likely already skeptical of the medical system, and this just allowed him to bypass a system he was already skeptical. It gave him more ammunition to disbelieve his doctors because it was telling him his doctors were wrong, and again, he paid for it with his life. Even an AI engine like OpenEvidence that has access to our medical literature, you have to be very careful when you read the interpretation of these studies. It's only as good as what the authors actually say, and authors actually will misrepresent what the study shows. This is very frequently a problem, and you have to understand what you're reading, what the research actually shows, look at those source documents. And although Ben's dad did that reportedly, he didn't have the underlying education and understanding of oncology to be able to properly interpret those studies clearly, because he did not see that those studies did not say what the Perplexity report said they did. I'm not sure what the answer is here, because the cat's out of the bag. There are a million different versions of AI that all of us use every single day. I don't want this to happen to another family. And I think when it comes to health advice and healthcare, we need to be very careful utilizing these programs, especially when they're disagreeing with the experts that are examining you.